Well, howdy folks, how's it going today? I hope everybody's doing really good. Well, I'm still tinkering on this old destroyer here. This is a 1977 Ibanez destroyer. This one belongs to me. In the last video, I was attempting to install a series parallel switching system in this guitar, and I still intend to do that. But I ran into a few issues on the wiring diagram that I acquired online. I'm pretty sure I've got it figured out, but I ended up stripping all that out of the guitar, and I'm gonna do some jamming with some guys here coming right up. So I installed just a basic run-of-the-mill setup just so I can play the guitar. I got a set of jacks and humbuckers in here now with new toggle, new pots, no push-pulls, no splits, nothing like that. It's just two volumes and a master tone. Three-way switch, pretty basic. So what I'm getting ready to do right now is just check everything out and make sure we got signal, which I'm pretty much positive we should be good to go. This is a very basic wiring setup, so I'll go over that in a second here. Okay, so we got a guitar cord plugged into the guitar. I've got some jumpers hooked to my multimeter here, okay? So it doesn't matter how they go, but I try to keep it the same. I hook the ground on the sleeve, and I hook the positive on the tip. Now it's good to note there's a little line here that separates these two, okay? And that coincides with your jack too, so just remember that. You got your sleeve and your tip, okay? Now, over here, what we're going to do is turn all our volumes up on 10. Make sure we got the switch on, and we'll turn our multimeter on. Okay, so with the switch in the middle, we have 5.1819 k ohms of resistance. Let's go to the neck pickup. Looks like we have 7.8889 around there. And on the bridge pickup, we have 15.05, I guess that is. It's hard to read through the camera lens, but pretty stout on the bridge here. Now, my theory with this is really this. A lot of times on, I've noticed this on humbucker guitars especially, like Les Pauls, SGs. The neck pickup will be substantially louder than the bridge pickup a lot of times. Even if you sink the pickup down into the body more or whatever, it just seems like it's always louder. So, and it has to do with the width of the vibration in the strings. They can move more up here than they can back here by the bridge, okay? It has a lot to do with it. Now, that being said, with this about half the resistance as the bridge pickup, I'm thinking this one's going to be a little less volume, and it's also going to be a little clearer and brighter. The more resistance you get, you can get more volume, in a lot of cases, but it will be a little darker sounding a lot of times too. So you got to kind of keep that in mind when you're matching stuff up. Now, there's no rule book. I don't play by the rules ever, so this is all experimental. And yes, a lot of times I'll end up ripping the stuff back out and trying something else, but that's how you find, the good stuff, in my opinion. So we know it works, that's good. And like I said, I think what I'll do is build the series parallel circuit on the bench, and I will do a video on that as well and walk you guys through how that works. So let's take a peek at the diagram on the series parallel real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then we're just going to go over some basic stuff about guitar wiring. So if you want to stick around for that, we'll get right into it. Okay, so this is the diagram I used for the series parallel setup. So you can see you have two humbuckers over here, and this is a volume control and another volume control. You can see the three connection points on the pot itself. What this is up here is the push-pull switch. So I think this was my issue. Now it shows there's a wire bridged across these two terminals on the top. I also think that you need to ground that to the side of the switch, which was not shown in the diagram, and I think that was my issue. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but when I figure it out, it'll be simple enough just to add that to my diagram. That way I know that this one will work. So when you find one that works, keep a notebook and have it for reference, so you don't have to go online. You know, it's easy to go online and look up a diagram, but they may not be right, some of them, okay? So it is a good practice to keep a notebook. All right, so let's just talk about some basic stuff about guitar wiring, okay? Now here's a humbucker. This was actually in this guitar. It's not an original pickup, but it was in there anyway, and it's a 2-wire pickup. So what you have is a bare wire, which is ground, and then you have one wire with some sheathing on it. That's usually a hot wire, okay? Unless it's a 4-wire pickup like this. So this is a 4-wire humbucker. You can see, it's actually 5 because you have a bare and a black. Those are tied together right now, but you have red, white, and green as well. So what that allows you to do, it allows you to isolate these coils so they're not running together all the time. And, you know, if you put a switch in between them, then you can switch them in between and whatnot. You can split them and do all kinds of cool stuff. So that's your basic difference with pickups. They make single coils that are actually humbuckers, which is, they're not side by side. They're actually one above the other, and they're 4-wire too. Most of your Strat pickups and single coils are just 2-wire, so it's pretty easy. Okay, let's talk about potentiometers for a minute. Volume pots, tone pots, right? So you can see in my rough sketch diagram. Now this is what is in the guitar now. This is something I sketched out a long time ago. It works, it's proven. That's why I keep it. So, you know, if you have a 2-wire pickup, like I said, one is going to go to ground, and that's going to be your ground symbol. It'll look like this. You'll have a bunch of lines that eventually taper down to nothing. And that's what a ground symbol is going to look like, or it'll just say GND on it or whatever. So if you have, you know, a 2-wire pickup, you're going to hook one to ground, and it shows this one, the hot wire, going to the volume pot. Now keep in mind, when you're looking at potentiometers on a diagram like this, you have 3 lugs. Some guys call them 1, 2, and 3. You can left, middle, and right, however you want to do it, okay? Just remember that on a diagram, the pot is facing down. You're looking at the back of the pot, not the side where all the action is, okay, when you're playing. So, pretty easy. That hot wire would go to this lug. The middle wire, which you would have to run from the middle lug, would go over to a 3-way switch, like shown here. Now, here's a 3-way switch. It's pretty easy to determine. One end will have 1 terminal. That's going to be ground. The end that has 3 terminals is pretty simple, too. Like I said, you got 1 pickup going into the volume pot. Then it comes out of the center of the pot and goes to either side of the switch. Now, the pickup's hooked to the outside terminals. And you'll see on a 3-way, you'll have these 2 blades that are kind of connected together. And that's your output. Now that goes to your tone pot in the middle. Then it jumps from the tone pot down to the jack. So, you know, pretty basic stuff. Now, when we're talking about jacks, it's showing on that. It comes from the tone pot to the tip, or the hot part of the jack. Here's the tip right here, okay? And the sleeve is the part of the jack that goes through the hole, okay? So if you follow this tip, follow this piece of metal, you see it comes down, it bends, comes around, and there's the terminal for it. Now, the sleeve is pretty easy to determine. If you look right here in the jack, you can see this ring around it, and there it is. So that's going to make connection to the sleeve, and this one makes connection to the tip. So, that's pretty basic stuff. It's not rocket science, like I said. It's just really just learning how to read one of these basic diagrams. Now, on a tone pot, for instance, it shows the middle one here going to the three-way switch in the middle, and then it jumps to the hot, okay? And it has the capacitor here on this lug, all right? So what you have, instead of grounding this lug to the back of the pot, we just put a capacitor in between it, and that would be this thing right here. And that's what gives you your tone control. Now, there's different ways to do that, too. 50s wiring, they did it with a center one, and they would feed into this one. There's different ways to do it. It's all really up to you and your taste. They do sound a little bit different, actually, so that's something to look into as well. So just remember, when you're looking at these diagrams, the pot is always upside down. There's no difference between a volume pot and a tone pot. They're all the same thing. The only thing that makes a tone pot is when you add the capacitor onto that leg, okay? Pretty simple. It's just, like I said, it's all about getting the diagram that works. If you get one that's missing a step, well, that can be a real headache and a lot of troubleshooting, especially when you're dealing with push-pull switches like this. So here you have your basic pot, and then you have 6 terminals here for the push-pull. So that's actually a switch, this section, that is separate from the actual potentiometer itself. So, that can be a little confusing at first, and honestly, that was a really kind of a novice mistake on my part, as far as not just adding that little ground off. But again, it's hard to retain that kind of stuff in your head and do it from memory. Something like this I can do without a diagram because it's pretty basic and I've done it enough. But when you get into even coil splitting, I could probably do without a diagram. I'd be a little slower at it, but I had never done the series parallel setup, so that was all kind of new. It's still pretty basic, but in any case, I was just following the diagram, and them things happen, so you can't get discouraged. You have to sometimes take a step back. That's really the best thing, and just retrace all your steps. Make sure you don't have any bad soldering joints or anything like that. Make sure you follow the diagram and ask questions. That doesn't hurt either, There's a lot of guys out there that are willing to help, and I'm certainly one of them. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, if I can help you out, I certainly will. If you don't do this stuff every day, you got to kind of think it through, that's all. And again, it's not intricate electronic circuits here. It's pretty basic, but again, if it's not something you do every day, then you have to use a diagram, and hopefully you get a good one. So when I do build the series parallel setup on the bench, I'm going to shoot a video of it as well and walk you guys through that, and we'll test it on the bench and everything. Once I get it done, I'll sketch out a diagram. You guys can snapshot it or whatever you want to do, but it will be something that will work and you can rely on it. So again, I recommend keeping a notebook of all these diagrams that you mess around with. It's really helpful information, and it it only takes a few seconds to thumb through a notebook and find a diagram that you know is going to work versus, looking at 40 on the internet that all kind of look a little different. Not that they're all wrong, and, you just don't know. Like I said, if I did series parallel wiring every day of the week, then I could look at a diagram instantly and tell you if it's right or wrong. So, it's just practice and repetition, folks, basically. Well, I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and I've had a lot of people ask me where I've been and, if I'm okay. And it's not normal, I guess, for me to take days off. I usually post content every day or every other day, but I've been kind of busy lately, and it's hard to find the time at times to get a video up. And I'm trying to work on some of my own guitars too, so some of the stuff I just don't shoot videos of, although it probably would make good content, some of it too. But this one is ready to go again, and like I said, we'll see what it sounds like and kind of go from there. So let's plug it in to the shop amp here and at least give it a listen. Okay, we're just playing through the little shop amp. It's a little Sidekick 15 with reverb, so don't expect nothing that great, but it is a cool amp and it's modded. Alright, let's see what we got here. Neck pickup. Wow. It is nice and clean, I will say that. Alright, here's both. They sound nice together too. Alright, let's go to the humbucker. Well, that's got a little back. Nice. Alright, back to the middle. Neck. Middle. Bridge. Alright. Now, I don't know if that picked up on the camera or not, but that bridge pickup had a lot more resistance, almost double the resistance. This was like 15 and this was 8 something. But in the guitar, they really kind of work well together and balance out pretty nice as far as volume. I haven't really messed with the pickup heights much here, so I think that's going to be a pretty good sounding little setup right there, honestly. Who knows, that might be the best sounding setup I'll ever have in this. But, I'm not afraid to take that all back out and try something else. It's not the end of the world, and I just want to get this thing the way I like it. Although, that's pretty sweet the way it is right there. So, again, this is kind of a happy accident. Maybe this will be the setup that stays in it. I'm kind of taking a shine to it, actually, already. So, good to know on the pickup values, though. Pretty hot in the back and a little, almost half the resistance here in this bridge neck one, excuse me. And again, I always hated that about, Les Pauls. Not all of them, but I've had some that the neck pickup would be just so much louder and beefier than the bridge. And I always wanted the bridge to have that same effect, but it's just not in the cards sometimes. So again, that's a good little experiment to try, try a lot less resistance in the neck and more in the bridge. You can, swap that out too if you're looking for a different effect. So Thanks again for tuning in, folks. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we'll do some more videos on electronics and whatnot. I do have some amps to service as well, so we're going to get into some more of that kind of stuff, which is pretty much, basic kind of stuff, cleaning, changing a few pots or whatnot. But I'll show you how to do it the safe way so you don't electrocute yourself. If you don't know what you're doing, do not get inside an amplifier at all. Solid state or tube, just stay out of there till you know what you're doing, or find somebody that does, okay? Well, thanks again, folks. I really do appreciate all the views and comments. Like I said, I'll try to get some more videos up soon. It's just been a kind of a hectic winter here lately. We've been getting some snow in Maine. We just got a foot last night. And now we've got 40 to 50 mile an hour winds right now, and that's supposed to last for another day. It's brutal out there. It looks like Mount Everest out there or something. All right, we'll see you guys real soon. Be good. Okie doke.